Namaste and welcome to the session number 14, Spiritual Aspects of Agnihotra. Last week we have discussed a very brief matter on Swastivachan and Shantikaran. They are not quite part of daily Agnihotra, but yet we devoted a session on studying, learning the dipole of Swasti and Shanti. That came from the last mantra of Ishwar Stuti Pratnopasna that we discussed 2 weeks ago, Agne Naya Supatharai. That itself has a dipole of Supath, the right path, and Kutilpath, Juhuranam, crooked path that we want to avoid. And that mantra came from Yajurveda 40th chapter. So last week we looked at this Vedic terminology of dipoles, where two seemingly opposite words are brought out, and we are told to navigate our life in an optimum manner. Sometimes it is to discard one negative thing thoroughly and accept the positive thing, like in Agni Suthara, where we want to discard the crooked path and follow the positive path. But sometimes, like in the first mantra of Yajurveda 40th chapter, Ishavasyamidam Tena Tyakten Bhunjita, Tyag and Bhog, detachment and enjoyment. We are supposed to carry them together, but in an optimum measure. We want to enjoy the pleasures of life, but yet in a detached manner. They are two opposite words, enjoyment and detachment. But we must utilize that in a proper manner so as to balance our life. We covered the whole Yajurveda 40th chapter because of its importance. We saw its importance in Purusukta or 30th first chapter of Yajurveda, which is begins with Sahasrisha Purusha. So where we noticed that the four Vedas that are generally spelt out as Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharveda. But in that particular 31st chapter, Tasmat Yajyatsa Uta Icha Samani Jajjiya, meaning they have been listed as Rigved, Samved, Atharved, and Yajurved. And if you count it like this, then Yajurved being the last one, and its very last chapter is 40th chapter, it seems to indicate to us as if this Yajurveda 40th chapter, which is also called as Ishopanishad, more or less in the same manner with slight change in order, and that is what is the most prominent Upanishad. So that gives the importance to the 40th chapter of Yajurveda, as if this includes the summary of the whole Vedic message. And there, the message was in terms of two words which sometimes look opposite, and we are supposed to balance our life taking them together. And that's what also is in the first mantra of the Sandhya, Brahm Yajna. Shanno Devi Vishtaya Pitaye. Bhishtaye, Abhishtaye, and Pitaye. We should give a derive all kinds of enjoyments of the material, sensual happiness as well as very inner happiness, Pitaye. And this sort of a meaning will come in one Havan mantra also. We will look at it in the next couple of weeks. Udbuddhya Swagne Petijagyahi Twamishta Purti. Ishta and Purti. So that has been, and last week we discussed such thing like Abhyuday and Shreyas. So this is a very peculiar way of looking at the Vedic way of life, Vedic message, where we want overall holistic development, material progress as well as spiritual progress. In this world, as long as we live, we want to be away from pain and suffering. And then, upon our death, we want to go in a world where is absolutely no pain and suffering at all. So that is the message. Today we start with the Agnihotra part, and usually the custom is after Ishwa Stuti Pratnopasna, in daily Agnihotra, we take 3 sips of water and then we do touching the body organs with wet fingers. That is called Anga-Sparsha. So today we look at that part. And before we do that, we again see a dipole here because now we are going to use water. Whereas Agnihotra is all about Agni, the fire ritual. So fire and water are seemingly two opposites, is it not? Indeed, we use water, at least by those who are in the fire brigade. The firemen will use water to extinguish fire because water can bring the fire down. So these are really opposite, but every household has it. Every kitchen has to have fire and has to have some water, source of water. So that same thing is in the Agnihotra also, the dipole of fire and water. Hmm? That seems to represent the sun and the earth also. And indeed, fire and water in every household can be viewed as representing the father and the mother of the house who have their children. So, this is the strange way to teach us by our ancestors, the Vedic rishis, simulation of the whole world. That is what the kalp is. We have discussed right in the beginning. The Vedanga has one important element, namely kalp, and all sorts of complex, elaborate yag called as Som yag, Shot yag, etc., Vajpayee yag, all these elaborate yag were devised by our rishis to teach us how the universe is functioning. And Agnihotra is the very smallest version of that, where also we'll see as if there is a message that sun and the earth, that is what makes the solar system work, and that's what gives us the life. And in our family, the mother and father gives us the life. And in the soul, this whole system that is called as Pind, and so is Brahmand. So that's what we'll see here. Even in this Pind, it is called as Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande. All the complexities of the universe are present here as well. Indeed, in this system also, we have fire and water. If there is no fire in the belly, I cannot digest the food and derive necessary nourishment from it, is it not? And if there is no water in the system, I will be dehydrated. So, either way, there is no life. If fire is no more, the body gets cold, and that's the end of what. And if the body is dehydrated, that's the end of life. So the body itself is having the two seemingly opposite things, fire and water. And we live together with it. Both are equal life forces for us. And so is true in the whole world. So today we will look at the Achman mantra, which we all are familiar with, three of them, and we are expected to take 1 sip of water after reciting. First, we pour some water in the right palm. We recite a short mantra, Om Amrito Masi Swaha, and then we take the sip of water. So 3 times we do it. Those 3 mantras are Om Amrito Masi Swaha, Om Amrita Pidhan Masi Swaha, Om Satyam Yasha Shri Mahi Shri Shaitam Swa. So let's look at these three mantras and what they mean. The Om is a common factor, as if we are addressing that supreme consciousness. And this is his gift, the water, that very life force. That is doing a miracle in the world. That is the essential substance for our survival, not only for we human beings, for all the animals, species, birds, fishes, all life, even plants and trees, they also need water. So, all sorts of things in the universe where there is a life force, they survive on water. And that water is also called as apa because it is everywhere. Water is very unusual, come to think of it, because in our day to day life, we come across water, of course, mostly in the liquid form, that's what we drink, but we are also familiar with frozen water as ice or snow in whatever form. And also in the kitchen, we see it. If we boil water to a temperature, say 100 degrees Celsius, then it starts boiling. And then we see water vapor coming out of it. So in our day to day life, we are familiar with all the three phases of water: solid phase, liquid phase, as well as vapor phase. And vapor, water, talking about water vapor, it is there everywhere in the whole atmosphere. The way the air that I breathe out has lot of water vapor. The air that I throw out from my lungs is having lot of water vapor. And we know it. Water vapor is H2O, the molecular weight is 18, and it is lighter than other constituents of air, namely oxygen is 32 and nitrogen is 28. So water vapor is only molecular weight 18, so it rises upward. The light thing always goes above, is it not? And then as it goes up, not only the water vapor that came from my mouth, all the water that is vaporizing from the ocean, from the lakes and rivers, all that water vapor goes up. And there is that's the design of the Ishwar. Up in the sky, the temperatures are lower. So the water vapor is condensing then. So upon condensation, it becomes a tiny droplets and they fall either as liquid water or in the form of snow. And then we get same water in a filtered form. So the water that we were drinking and we have polluted it by using it in all sorts of form for cleaning the body as well as all other things. And it goes down the lake, down the water, rivers and the oceans. But then through the rain, the mechanism of rain, we get that same filtered water again for reuse. So there is a water cycle, is it not? And that because it is present everywhere, our Vedic Rishi gave it a name, Apa. That's what is in the first mantra of Sandhya. Shanno Devi Vishte Apo Bhavantu Pite. So Apa, the root meaning is ever present, all pervading. So water is Apa, almost all pervading. But of course, the primary entity that deserves to be called Apa is Ishwar, who is actually all pervading, is it not? So Apa is a word for both water as well as Ishwar, because he's the maker of water, is it not? So just like the sun is called Surya, that is Swapakash, it gives its own light. It doesn't borrow light from others like the moon does. It is own source of light, Swapakash. But actual Swapakash Swarup is Ishwar, who is the maker of the sun. He has all the light: physical light, light of knowledge, light of consciousness. He has all the lights. And that's why he makes the light of physical light in the form of that fireball, the sun, is it not? So his name is also Surya, and the sun is also called Surya. So sun is acting as his agent. So he gives us the light not directly via the sun. So sun becomes another devata. In the same manner, the water, Jal, is also a devata. That is Ishwar's design, that soothing sensation, that characteristics of water that we need so much is coming to us as a gift of Ishwar from via that liquid water, is it not? Air is also Devata, Vayu Devata. Because that very force of life force that I need through the breathing, that Ishwar has designed, that he has packed in the water, in the air, and when I am breathing the air, I get that strength, is it not, for my survival. So these are all Devata, agents of that Ishwar. So there are some Devatas who are living beings, like my mother, father, teacher, and Atithi, noble people. So there are these Devatas also, where Ishwar's design that when that woman becomes mother, Ishwar has planted all the motherly instincts in her mind, is it not? So as a mother, she is a Devata. As a father, he is a Devata. So Devata is a agent to give us. Devata is in giving mode. Devata Dhanadva Deepnadva Dyotnadva. That's what Yask is saying. Devata is one who gives nice good things as well as physical light and as well as light of knowledge. So anybody who gives us nice good things, light or light of knowledge, he or she is Devata, is it not? So water is a Devata, Jal is Devata for us. We must respect it very well. Should never waste it and use it in a very sensible manner. Try to minimize its pollution. Is it not? That's what we are learning at the very outset of this Agnihotra. Sometimes in certain places we notice that Achman is done before Ishwa Stuti Pratnapas. And on certain occasions we notice that first is Ishwa Stuti Pratnapasana, then is Achman. It doesn't matter. Whatever is the sequence, we can follow either way, no problem. So let's look at this Achman, three sips of water, and followed by the Anga-Sparsha. That's our discussion today. So the first mantra I recited was Om Amyato Pastranamasi Swaha. Asi is like Twamasi, is it not? Tattwamasi, we have heard in Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad. Tat Tvam Asi. So Tvam is you, the second person. Asi is you are. So we are addressing to that supreme being and addressing him as Ammetam. We are looking at that water also. So the statement is valid for both water as well as to that supreme being. Because as I said, water is agent of that. So it's all the same. So Ammetam, water is like Ammet. Ammet means something which is permanent, which never dies, is it not? All other tastes, we drink many things, we eat many things, but that taste disappears, is it not? But the taste of water, which is the life force, never ends. It just remains with us always. So is true with that supreme being. He is also Amrit, he is undying, never decays, never decays. It is permanently like that. Om Amrito Upastayan Masi Swa. Asi we have discussed. You are. So you are Amit. What else you are? Amritam, we are giving him we are addressing him as that. Then we are saying, you are Upastaranam. Upastaranam has been translated by Vedic scholars in usually as underneath. And the next mantra is Amrita Pidhanamasi, where the word is Apidhanam. Apidhanam has been translated as above me. So I am here, below me is Amritam, and above me is Amritam. But I think this it makes more sense to me that Upastaranam means inside and Apidhanam means outside. So within me there is water, and outside of me is water, and I want to use it properly. And that's what we are doing. As I take 3 sips of water, I am drinking the water, and we know it why we drink water. It washes away all the toxins of the body, is it not? It takes away all the toxins of the body. And when we want to take a nice bath, shower, we do external cleansing with water also. So water is used for internal cleansing as well as external cleansing. So that's what is reminded. Om Amrito Pastaramasi Swaha. Om Amrita Pidhanamasi Swaha. So both these mantras, short ones, have a meaning that this water, which I will do, be taking its sip, and also slightly later will be touching that body organs with these wet fingers, is good for both internal cleansing as well as external cleansing. And the water is there within me as well as outside of me. And so is true with that supreme consciousness. He is also within me and outside of me. He also cleans me bodily, but also mind wise also. He can clean my mind as well. Is it not? So that is what I am acknowledging when I say Om Amrito Pastanmasi Swaha. Om Amrita Pidhanmasi Swaha. What is the meaning of Swaha? Su and Aha. Su is well, good. Sukha. It is a prefix. And Aha means to speak out. So what does it mean? Well spoken. So what I am saying is, whatever I have said, I have spoken thoughtfully. I mean it. So whenever I say Swaha, which will come very often in Agnihotra, it means I have spoken these words very carefully. I know their meaning and I mean it. That's the meaning of it. So, Amrito Pastarmasi Swaha, Amrita Pidhanmasi Swaha. I acknowledge that water. That is the force within me as well as outside of me. And the third one is Om Satyam Yashaha Shri Mayi Shri Shaitam Swaha. Again here, Satya is truthfulness, but Satya has connotation for both knowledge as well as action. So I want to know all the truth about the universe, all the true principles, how things function in this world, and also, as Maharishi Dayananda always says, Satyava Mani Satyavadi Satyakaji. Truth has a very special meaning in his life because even his life began with that Mahashivratri, where he thought if this idol of Shiva cannot protect the offerings given to it from a tiny mouse, this cannot be the powerful Shiva that was recounted a while ago. So he says, that became the objective of his life. I want to know who the true Shiva is. True Shiva is that supreme consciousness, that supreme being. And that's what he gave his life for. So his very first most important book is also called Satyarth Prakash. The meaning of the truth. What are the truths of life? What do we come across in this world as we go through childhood to all adulthood and beyond? And we should be have deep love and concern for the truth because that only saves us from all kinds of wrongdoings, all kinds of wrong ideas. So the Satya, the word Satya, has some is probably the most prominent word in the 10 principles of Ayasama. Sab Satya Vidya, very first, then Sab Kam Dharmanusar, अर्थात सत्य और सत्य को अविद्या का नाश विद्या की वृद्धि so वेद सब सत्य विद्याओं का पुस्तक है so the word Satya has come most often in the 10 principles of Ayasama. So the Satya has a two basic connotation. It can be in the direction of the knowledge as well as action. So when it comes to knowledge, we want to know everything that is truthful. We wouldn't like to hear somebody who is speaking false, who is lying, is it not? And we have love for truth. That's what scientists, philosophers do. They make all kinds of investigation to know what true principles are, what the truth is all about, is it not? And that's what is discovered and disseminated. So all the knowledge is pertaining to the truth. So the if it is not truthful, that has no meaning, is it? And not only that, even actions are reflecting truth, is it not? If I want to hear truth, it means somebody should be speaking truth, and that person speaking is action. So knowing the truth is the knowledge part, and speaking out the truth is action part. So truth has both connotations, and I must accept it in total sense. So when Patanjali in Ashtanga Yoga talks about yam, what are my interactions with others in the society? He is listing again ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, apayagya. So satya is coming again. That my action should be based on ahimsa, not to hurt others, and also truthfulness. So truth has both incoming knowledge should be based on truth, outgoing action should be based on truth. So if I have accepted it, the next thing is yasha. Yasha is my fame, how people know me. I will be honored by others, the community. And then I have all the wealth that is called Shi, Mai within me. So I have all the wealth, the material wealth, intellectual wealth, spiritual wealth, if I have understood the beauty of that apa, that ever present water, is it not, which is everywhere. And water has an interesting property. Talking about its three phases from solid to liquid, that called freezing point or melting point is 0 degrees Celsius. And on the other extreme, at 100 degrees Celsius, it has a boiling point when it becomes water vapor fully. But there is a very interesting thing that even in between, at all the temperatures, at any given atmospheric temperature, if there is a pool of water, some water is vaporizing, is it not? It doesn't have to be heated to its 100 degrees Celsius boiling point. So, whatever is the temperature between 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, some amount of water is always vaporized. Higher the temperature, higher is the rate of vaporization, is it not? That has a lot of practical applications. If some water has fallen on the floor or rainwater is still lying on the roads, by and by, gradually, it will disappear. We won't see it, But every few minutes or an hour later, we see that it has vanished. We don't see it. How is it vanishing? It just becomes water vapor. So when we wash our clothes, those wet clothes, if we go in our backyard and put it on a rope, we line it up, and a few hours later, it is dried. All the water content of those clothes have disappeared. They become water vapor. So this is very interesting. That's why there is water vapor everywhere in the atmosphere. Is it not? So it doesn't have to be heated to boiling point. If that's the way it would have happened, that would be very difficult. Then nothing will get dry. So that is very gift of Ishwar. That even if water is not heated at up to boiling point, yet at any temperature, and that is in physics we call it Clausius-Clapeyron equation. At every temperature there is equilibrium water vapor pressure. So some water will vaporize to maintain that vapor pressure. And at 100 degrees Celsius, that vapor pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. So near the layer of water, there will be only water vapor. So water will keep bubbling and boiling because all the water vapor that is at the next layer, it is disappearing in the atmosphere, so it has to fill up. So it just needs some so-called latent heat of vaporization. So the point is, like many other things have to be imagine something like iron or gold or silver, such metals. What would be their melting point, and then what would be their boiling point? There will be thousands of degrees Celsius, very high temperature. But for water, which is a life support substance, we are familiar with 0 degrees Celsius. We are able to see 100 degrees Celsius, though that is very hot. We cannot touch it. But even much less than that, at our ordinary room temperatures like 20, 25, 30 degrees Celsius, water is vaporizing. And water vapor is there in all the atmosphere that we are familiar with. So if we have embraced that water, Apa Devi properly, the agent that water is representing is that supreme consciousness. And naturally, this water is physical wealth, and that Apa Devi, the supreme consciousness, is blessing us. That's what is Sanyor Visavantuna, continuous shower of all that peace and happiness. That is what is Sanyor Visavantuna. And that's what is coming here. Satyam Yasha Shimahi. So I will have all kinds of wealth. And not only that, Shri Shaitam Swaha. My having the wealth, and then I become an abundance source of that wealth for others also. So if it is just Shri Mai, I have lot of wealth. But Shri Shaitam means I become a huge reservoir of that wealth that I can give it to pass it on to others also. Then not only me, I have the capacity to give it to others. So that is what is Shri Shaitam Swaha. These three ships of water with these accompanying mantras, they are followed by what is called Anga-Sparsha mantra. And then we take some water in our left palm and these two fingers. This is called Madhyama and Anamika. Madhyama is the middle finger. Anamika is between middle and the little finger. So Sanskrit terms are basically this is called Angushta, this is called Tarjani, Madhyama, Anamika, and Kanishta, the smallest one. So we are expected to use these two fingers, Madhyama and Anamika, and wet them and then touch certain body organs, first the right side, then the left side. So the sequence goes ओम वांग में आसे अस्तु, नसो में प्राणो अस्तु, अक्षणों में चक्षुस्तु, कर्णों में श्रोत्रमस्तु, बाहुओं में बलमस्तु, ऊर्वो में ओजो अस्तु, अष्टानि में अंगानि तनुस्तन्वा में सहस्र. I'd just like to bring out an interesting feature here. Let's say, for example, the fourth one is Karnayoye me Shrotyamastu. Karn is these outer organs. So in Sanskrit, we have, in Vedic philosophy, we have for every sensory organ one word for the outer organ, what is called Indriya Golak. And then there is one word for that inlet port where the five sensory organs bring in the knowledge to the mind, and mind link is scanning and picking up the signals, is it not? So as if my this hand represents mind, which has a linkage, and these are five sensory organs. They are bringing data from the outside world: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So let's look at, we are looking at the sound signal coming from my ears. But once the signal comes here, this is inlet port to my mind now. This is my mind. So at the inlet port, there is a linkage that picks up data from one at a time. So when it picks up from here, now this inlet port at this point is called Shrotra. So Shrotra is a sensation, the sound signal, when it is passed on to the mind, that port. And Karn is the outer hearing organ. So Karn and Shrotra, these are two different words. Of course, both enable me hear the sound. So we have to become familiar with it. In the same manner, this is Akhnome. Now the sight organ here that transports the data, passes on to the mind, is called Chakshu. So this is Chakshu, this is Shrotra, while here this is eye, eyeball. And these are my ears. So we have to become, that's why there is a pair of words. One is outer organ, which is visible, and one is that subtle thing where that data signal is transported to the mind domain. And once mind has acquired the data, it brings it to me, the presiding entity, that consciousness, who is the owner of body and mind. So that is very interesting that I am saying Karno me Shottamastu. So may my hearing organ have the strength of hearing ability, is it not? So that is what is there. And then I touch my body organs like this. So this is done for eyes also. And this is the beauty of that gift of that Supreme Being. Look at our eyes, for example. Two eyes, they function like a convex lens. The image of an object of interest falls on the retina, which is inverted image. But then optic nerves goes up to my mind, what I saw as signal of sight, that is called chakshu port, and then that is passed on. But before it is passed on, it's so wonderful. The optic nerves from both the eyes, somewhere they are converging, is it not? And these two images are becoming one image, and that overlap is so fantastic. It is not blurred at all. We always see everything in a sharp focus. Should that be happening, the two images don't meet properly, then our vision will be very blurred, is it not? So these are complex intricacies in our organ, and we should appreciate it. Wonderful gift. Talking the same thing about 2 years, not only that the sound heard by my right ear and by my left ear, they are juxtaposed together in a proper manner, and there is no offset. It is one sound. There is no absolute, there is clarity. But there is another fantastic thing happening. Suppose the sound was coming from my right side in this direction, somewhere from, and maybe I cannot see that source of sound, but I hear the sound. Sound traverses at the speed of 330 meters per second. It takes some time, but it's very fast. Is it not? 330. So even a jet airplane, commercial airplanes, are generally less than sonic speed, though they are flying at almost 1000 kilometer per hour, but they are less than sonic speed. So sound is traversing almost at that speed, 330 meters per second. So it is picked up by my this ear as well as that ear, and then it is placed before me in such a manner that I have a very clear sound. But one more fantastic thing is happening. As soon as I hear the sound, I have an idea where it came from. And I look at it like this: it probably came from this direction. So, how do I know the directionality of sound source? Just imagine sound is coming from a long distance, it is picked up by one ear, by picked up by second ear, and there is a slight difference in the distance, slight difference. And that slightest difference is computed here quickly that it did not come from here. Otherwise, both the ears would have heard at the same time, is it not? This came before that. So I look at it this way. If it came much before that, I look at it this way. And sometimes I look at it on the back side. Such a precise thing. Very fantastic system that we have. So we want to look at this Anga-Sparsha also. But here I am slightly find things challenging a bit. So let's go through these mantras. The first one is Om Vang Asyas. This is about my speech organ that is in mouth. Vak is the vocal cord, my ability to speak, and Ase is my mouth as such. So within my mouth, I have ability to speak out. Nasoy mein prano astu. In the nostrils, I have ability to pick up the life force when I breathe in. Then the eyes, akshoy mein chakshus. Then the ears, and then it is the arms, and then the lower body, the thighs. So I am slightly find it intriguing the sequence. If I look at it from very geographical manner, it is here, here, to the eyes, to the ears, and then to the arm. There is a sequence, is it not? So first is the mouth, but within the mouth, from lower side, then it builds up. Maybe that is what is the sequence. It's as simple as that. But I am trying to think also from another way. Could it be that first mantra is referring to ability to speak, which is an action based, which is I think I am activating my Annamaya course. And then the next is Pranovastu, the Pranamaya course. Then the eyes and the ears, that is picking up knowledge signal from the outside world, that is Vijnanmaya course, isn't it? But then Bhavo me Balamastu, that is again back to the body, the motor organs, the physical strength, Annamaya course. So, it is slight zigzag. I start the journey with the Annamaya course, body organ when speaking, then go further inside slightly to Pranamaya course, then go much to the Vijnanmaya course, skipping the Manomaya course. And then again I come to action based, the physical arms and the thighs, which is Annamaya course. So this is a bit puzzling thing for me, and I haven't seen any Vedic scholar throwing light on this. Why is this particular sequence? This is also very much in the Chandogya Upanishad and certain Upanishads. So this is a slight I would like to touch upon it next time when we meet. And until then, I will say have a good time. And next time when we meet, we will discuss the Anga-Sparsha mantra and move forward. Thank you very much for your attention.